I'd just like to start with asking you all one thing. How many of you have ever had stage fright? Just raise your hand if you have. So, from what I can see, plenty of you have. And that's not surprising at all. Because we all feel some level of discomfort when we're on a stage in front of an audience. Believe me, I'm feeling quite uncomfortable right now. Yet, I'm still here in front of you. Because this has to do with something really important that I want to talk to you about. But before we dive deep into that, let's just start with something simple. Think about a normal school day, right? You're in class, the teacher asks a question, and you know the answer, kind of. But you don't raise your hand. Not because you're lazy, and not because you don't care, but because there's a tiny risk. You might be wrong, and it's just easier not to find out. So you stay quiet, and nothing happens. No embarrassment, no tension, no failure, just safety. And that's kind of the problem. Because I think a lot of us are building our lives around that feeling without even realizing it. I call it the safe life trap. It's when you slowly start choosing whatever protects you from discomfort. Not big dramatic choices, not obvious ones, small ones. Like the subject that feels easiest to score in, the answer you don't say out loud, the opportunity you don't apply for, the thing you kind of wanted to try but didn't, because it felt safer not to. I remember being in year 9, and my school was running a public speaking contest. Not a huge deal, maybe 30 to 40 people in the room. I had actually written something that I thought was decent. But when the sign-up sheet actually went around, I just didn't put my name down. I told myself I wasn't ready, that I'd do it next year when I was better prepared. Well, next year came, but I didn't sign up then either. And the thing is, nothing bad happened. No one noticed, and life moved on completely fine. But I think about that a lot, not because there was some massive opportunity that I missed, but because it was such a small risk. Just 30 people in a room that I was familiar with, and I still chose the exit. So that's what the safe life trap actually looks like. It's not dramatic. It doesn't feel like a choice. It just feels like waiting for a better moment that never actually arrives. And honestly, it works. You don't fail as much, you don't get judged as much, and you don't get embarrassed as much. So on the surface, it looks like you're doing everything right. But here's the weird part. A life that avoids failure can still feel like something is missing. I think the safe life trap doesn't show up as disaster. It shows up as something quieter. You become someone who's good at avoiding mistakes, but not necessarily someone who's tested themselves. You get used to staying inside the version of yourself that already exists. And over time, that version of yourself gets smaller and smaller. But not because you're forced into it, but because you never challenged it. And I don't think this comes from one place. It's school, it's pressure, and it's comparison. It's the idea that every decision you make is supposed to be smart and safe because it affects your future. So we start treating life like a system where the goal is to avoid messing up. But here's the problem with that mindset. You can't discover anything new about yourself if you only ever do what feels certain to you. A psychologist from Cornell University named Thomas Gilovich had spent years studying human regret. And what he found was that what haunted people the most in the long run wasn't the risks they took. It's the ones they didn't. Not the moments that they tried and failed, but the moments they never tried at all. The things they didn't say. The chances that they quietly talked themselves out of. The better moment that they kept waiting for. Here's another way to think about it. For most of human history, survival ran on one rule. When you're in doubt, don't dwell on it. When you see an unfamiliar plant, don't eat it. When you hear a strange noise in the dark, don't go there. So these humans who treated the unknown as dangerous were the ones who survived to pass down that instinct. The problem is that this trait that we inherited was built for a world where it was necessary for survival. It was never updated for a world where the unknown was just raising your hand, or trying out for something, or saying what you actually think. But your brain doesn't know the difference. So when it goes, nah, it's not worth it, that's not weakness. That's a survival instinct, hundreds of thousands of years old, firing in the completely wrong context. So we've all experienced these moments happen to us. Those moments seem small, but they add up. Because every time you choose safety, you don't just avoid failure or loss, you also avoid growth. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying you should just take random risks or do reckless things. It's not about being loud or fearless or constantly uncomfortable. The goal isn't to suddenly become someone who takes huge risks. It's more subtle than that. Maybe it's smaller. Speak when you'd normally stay quiet. Try things you're not instantly good at. And let yourself be a beginner at something without quitting immediately. Just small moments where comfort doesn't automatically win. And maybe the point is this: a safe life doesn't look like a trap. It looks like good decisions until you realize that you never actually chose anything that scared you even a little. Thank you.